Hey everybody, long time no talk, Alana Neckbeard Otaku. So, yesterday, we started on a project that's been somewhat several years in the making. Last couple of years ago, my local hobby town started hosting qualifier events for the Gunpla Builders World Cup. Yeah, that is a mouthful. Uh, and being relatively new, I wanted to enter the competition just for fun and giggles, mostly just to see other people comment with their much more impressive dioramas and model work. But unfortunately, the last 2 years, me being me, the opportunity just completely slid over my head, and I didn't build anything. And some of the times I didn't even bother to go to the event because I wasn't feeling good or I'm a sugar. But this year's gonna be different because yesterday, as I was mentioning, we at least started. We got progress. So over the last weekend, we went to the aforementioned Hobby Town and we decided to get the most basic, cheap Gunpla kit that I would also need for ulterior motives and other projects. So we landed on the HGUC Zaku 1. Because, as you may also notice over here, this is going to be the first table for what is going to be my N scale Japanese train layout. And with that project, ultimately, I want to combine all my model building passions and hobbies. So all the Gundam and anime models I build, my affinity for Japanese railways and model railroading. I just kind of want to marry that all together. So we're going to have a Japanese themed train layout with a bunch of Gundams and kaiju monsters battling it out. So I was kind of looking over what I have built, what was in my backlog, and I just went, I need more bad guys. Otherwise, we're just looking at Gundam on Gundam violence. So that's how we landed on that Zaku 1. He's like, oh, yeah, we could try that for the competition, and then we'll need that later. So that just seemed like a good plan at the time. But also going through the backlog, we found this guy that we forgot all about. I snagged that at the Gundam base tour when they swung through last year. So I was like, oh, there we go. That'll work perfectly with the Zaku 1. So we'll plus up our very rough initial ideas of what we already had. So yesterday we started on building the model somewhat. We got his upper regions and most of the accessories done already. So what I had noticed was I kind of going into old habits at first, and I was doing my best to, make sure I get all the pesky little note marks cleaned up and everything sanded down. And then I realized, okay, I have my models, but what am I doing? What is the story my diorama is telling? So we come to that realization and then figured, okay, the best plan of attack from here is to just go ahead, do the initial rough construction of both of the models, and then basically just kind of play around with them a little bit and see what ideas we get from there. So we got started on one of the models yesterday. We also got in some additional supplies. As bare bones as the Zaku 1 is, we got some additional official Bandai Gunpla Xeon decals. So, we can put a little more color onto that, but also one of the things I want to do with this project is I have gotten a couple of tools, such as pin vise and a rudimentary scrabber kit. I have yet to actually start using these, so I'm thinking I want to try to experiment and play around with maybe doing some battle damage on the models in the diorama, and also with scribing panel lines or scribing further details that's not on them, or just make what's on them a little bit better and more pronounceable. So those are two other things. I do want to try to avoid much painting as possible. That is the one thing that I know my skills are very lacking and I'm not very confident in. So if I could get away with as much as just being plain out of the box, like I tend to do when I build anyways, I'm thinking I'm going to try to stick with that and just probably focus on the scribing panels. I think that's the one thing I want to try to work on and get some skills on with this particular project. So that was already a pretty successful day one. Today was, this morning, a little dragging ass a little bit, nursing my cups of coffee, but we got some progress done. Now with some of the things I also got in yesterday, I also got in this like very basic rudimentary diorama supply kit that you probably remember building with in your first grade school project. It's literally the exact same thing. I think I literally used this when I was in grade school. So we're going to just start off with that, ride with that, see how far we get it, see if where any ideas with the concept of the diorama we want to keep there, or if maybe within over the time allotted we may want to get a little more advanced and add additional things, but we'll see when we cross that bridge. One of the things I did notice though was that the diorama kit did not include a display base, which had to be bought individually, or you just do what I did and just fortunately scrounge up enough random clutter and supplies that we're just going to use that and rock on with that and see how we go. Now the foam and the wood pieces I just showed off, those were roughly measured out to the grass mat that came in with the kit, which comes in under the required 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters of your diorama size for the competition. So we got a pretty large base that is within legal parameters to start off with. We have pretty much a blank canvas with just waiting for opportune, better ideas. From there, one thing I do like about our situation right now is, yeah, I got the two Zaku models, and oh, I did also find little entry grade Granddad floating around, so maybe we'll do something with him here to fill up some of that empty space, or if I just don't like the empty space, I can still shrink the diorama as I feel necessary. So that was pretty much wrap up of the Gunpla Builders World Cup day one for me. Now on to day two. We'll leave it from here. Hope to see you guys later. We'll fill you in later as need be. And keep on building.